us. Brothers like us. Ain't no team bringing brotherhood like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no man moving in purpose like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no other crew spreading power like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no other squad lifting spirits like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no team bringing brotherhood like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no man moving in purpose like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no other crew spreading power like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no other squad lifting spirits like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no team bringing brotherhood like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no man moving in purpose like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no other crew spreading power like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no other squad lifting spirits like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no team bringing brotherhood like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no man moving in purpose like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no other crew spreading power like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no other squad lifting spirits like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no team bringing brotherhood like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no man moving in purpose like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. crew spreading power like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no other squad lifting spirits like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no team bringing brotherhood like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no man moving in purpose like us. Brothers like
What's up,
us,
my
brothers,
dude?
brothers like us.
Yo, man, can you hear me?
I can hear you great, man. That's great. I'm just doing a couple of few things. The stream is going good. I'll be right back, all right?
Good.
See you nod your head.
Is that you? That's not you, right?
I made the song, but it's not me vocally on it.
Right.
It's a full
I like
song.
that other song. I like that other song that you did, man.
Which one?
Man, what was it? I think you did it for Brothers Like Us.
Ain't no other crew spreading power like us. Brothers like us, brothers
Did I
like
send you the full one
Ain't no
with
other
the
squad
verses and
Yeah.
stuff on it? Yeah. I haven't even leaked that one out yet. Soon.
That was nice, man. I like that one. I like this too. For a quick little,
Yeah,
a
just
little
use this
ditty.
for an intro.
Right.
All right, let me make sure that we're streaming on all
Yeah.
the channels.
Okay. Cool.
I see we're on YouTube. We're on
Thanks.
So we're on my Instagram. We're on Long Island Teamwork Instagram. We're on the Brothers Like Us YouTube page. Trying to get us on Facebook pages as well.
Ain't no other crew spreading power like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no other squad lifting spirits like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no team bringing brotherhood.
Kind of catchy, man.
Brothers like us,
Thanks, man.
like us.
Yeah, I'm trying to loop it so to get in people's heads, you know?
Yeah. I thought I would be singing this all night.
Good. Good. That's exactly what we want. That's exactly what we want. Hold on.
Ain't no other crew spreading power like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no other squad lifting spirits like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no team bringing brotherhood like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no man moving in purpose like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us.
We should be good. Let me let this run one more time.
Ain't no other crew spreading power like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no other squad lifting spirits like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no team bringing brotherhood like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no man moving in purpose like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us.
Yeah. You there, John?
I'm here. Can you see me?
I can see you. Let me bring this down. bring us up. Um, this
I
is
have
my
you on my phone. I should have put you on
okay.
my laptop, but that's okay.
It's all good. You could join from either one, even if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to join from your laptop and
Mm-hmm.
then
I
turn
would
this
go
one off
to.
and just leave that one, that's fine.
Yeah, this is cool. Well, you see me
I
okay,
can
right?
see you great. I can hear you good. Excellent. How
So
about me? Can you see me good?
I could see. No, the brothers like us. His logo is on.
Okay,
I
hold
think.
on. Let me see.
Let me see. Maybe I. There you
Okay,
go. All
you can
right,
see
now
me good.
I can see
Try to make it
you.
so we can see so everybody can see everybody. You should be able to see the logo. You should be able to see me and yourself. Can you see all of that? I don't know how it shows up on the phone actually.
Yeah, it might show a little different on the phone. I could only. Okay, there you go. Okay, I see me,
Now it's me and you.
and now, uh, yes, I see me and you now.
All right, cool. How you doing, man? How's everything going?
Good, and good game yesterday, huh? Did you watch the whole thing?
A great game, bro. Yes, I
He,
watched the whole thing.
he played
How much?
well. He
Played
scored
very well.
19 points. I think he had like 8 rebounds and like 3 assists.
A
He did
great
good,
game. He
and
started it off, man. When he hit that first three, I was like, yes, he's
yeah,
in
and
rhythm, bro. He's in
he
rhythm.
was playing aggressive because they don't really they don't really look for him. He
Right.
got to get offensive rebounds. There's no plays for him. They got a couple of white boys that take all the shots.
So he has to
But
make his
he
own.
got. I told him
Yeah.
when you get. I told him before. I said when you get the rock, shoot it. Just shoot it.
Right.
And he
Absolutely.
did those first two shots.
Absolutely.
I'm like, yeah. I said, oh man, he's gonna score 30. But but he should play more. He should never come out the game the way he
Nah, he should be on
rebounds
the court all
all the
game
time.
long. He's
Defensively,
tenacious, man.
rebounding,
Yes.
defensively, he gets the
Yes.
team up. I got to talk to that racist coach. Don't get me started.
Listen.
I,
So let me ask you, how
yeah,
was it when you were playing at the college level? How was it for
yeah.
you?
Well, it was terrible. What happened was, here I am, Division I player, Georgetown, St. John's, all these recruiters. But I decided to go to be a big fish in a small pond, right? Because Wesleyan
Wow.
I knew a lot of people who went to Wesleyan and had a great reputation. And I didn't plan on playing ball in the pros or nothing. Plus, I got money to go to Wesleyan. So I said, bet. So I went to Wesleyan
So let
freshman
me ask you this.
year.
Did you go on a basketball scholarship or
No,
academic scholarship?
Uh, uh, check it out. So Division III doesn't give out basketball scholarships.
Really? Oh, I
No, so
didn't
no
realize that.
Division III, but they work their way around it. Like so, I got financial aid up the wazoo, and then
Okay.
I had a one of those work study jobs where I was watching the grass grow,
Uh-huh.
that kind of thing. So,
Gotcha.
and then my senior year, my dad got laid off of his job, and they actually gave my father and mother money. It was crazy. What they got? Their endowment is like $3 billion. Their
Yo,
endowment.
that's wild, bro.
Well,
That's
Harvard
crazy.
Harvard's endowment is about 25 billion.
Yo.
Something like that. But Wesleyan it's in the billions, man. Wesleyan, I mean, I went to school with Johnny Carson's son, Diane Carroll's daughter, it's all the who's who that went to. That's because I know all these people, man. They all went to Wesleyan
Wow.
with me, But yeah,
Wow.
but in terms of playing, so here I was freshman year, and of course they moved me up to varsity, and I was clearly better than all of them.
Uh-huh.
But the coach, he put me in, he worked me in, but I was only a freshman. He had some seniors. So then sophomore year, I felt it's gonna be my team now. I'm gonna kill. But racism, man, he was putting me in sporadically. And then my junior year, um, I left the team because I think I told you that we were playing against our arch rivals, which is Amherst, right? Big
Okay.
game. Instead of having 200 people in the gym, we had 300 people. But no, no, it was a
Wow.
big no, it was a big game. We had 1,000 people in the gym, and I was a starter. Well, he did not start me. I didn't know why, and he did not play me a second in the game. Now
You
everybody was
didn't
saying,
play the whole game?
and we lost. So everybody's looking like what the crowd was, put John in, put John in, right? I was just sitting there chilling. But what happened was he had heard that my whole crew was coming from Queens. My mother, my father. I had about 15, 20 people that came to see me play. And the mother effer did not put me in the game because he was trying to prove a point that I don't care. I don't care if we lose. I'm running this show. John's not. It
You're
was
not
so
the
so
star.
stupid. It's so stupid, man. Even it made him look bad, right? But that day I quit the team. I said I'm done, right?
Wow.
And the whole team came over to my room that night. Everybody, white boys, John, you can't quit. You can't let this racist dude. And it's a
Talk
team.
however you want to talk, bro.
Yeah,
You know, I don't know. I'm
yeah.
not
He
sure
said,
of whatever the guidelines are, but
they
listen.
said we can't let you quit. I said I'm done with y'all. Fuck y'all. I was using some language, right? And then they
Right.
said, John, come on. And so then I talked to some people. I prayed about it. I said, I'm not going to let this guy run me out of something I love to do. And
Right.
so let me just say who he was. His name was Herb Kenny. He was the president of the Coaches Association for the NCAA, not Division III, the entire NCAA. So he knew Mike Krzyzewski. He knew everybody knew him, right? Now
Listen,
check it.
first of all, I love people that share names. I love the fact that
I
you're
got
not afraid to throw the name out there. I love it. All right,
the
continue. So he's the president of
president
the
of the
Coaches
NCAA
Association?
Coaches Association. He was pretty well known. He went to West Point with what's his name? The coach of Notre Dame that was crazy. Um, um,
Oh,
Bobby Knight. He was
yes, Bobby
Bobby
Knight.
Knight's boy. Bobby Knight, those are all his boys, right? So, but the racist to the cows came home. And, he used to make me do extra stuff in practice, and it was just kind of crazy. But I was so much better than them dudes that, what could he do, right? And so I think he wanted me to quit. And so that's when the team said no. So I played for the rest of the season. And I played my senior year, but I didn't really care, And he
Okay.
tried to. He was starting a freshman over me. I was like, come on, it's ridiculous. We had a horrible record and a horrible team. I didn't give a F, and I was just playing for
So
fun,
so
you
he
know.
didn't necessarily care about winning so
No,
much as putting you in your
as
place.
proving a point. And so fast forward, a brother named Teddy Shaw, who became he became Thurgood Marshall. He was the head of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund and one of my mentors, right? He's the one that kind of got me to go to Wesleyan. He came over to my house. Him and a bunch of dudes came to my house when I was a senior, and he convinced me to go to Wesleyan, right? Well, he was a big lawyer. Well, years after I left, the coach had there was a racial incident where there was a black girl who was being harassed by these white boys on the team, calling her N and all the other stuff. Well, Teddy got a hold of it and heard about it. Teddy, by the way, was before me. He didn't get no run either, right? So anyway,
Wow.
he made it a point to this guy. He had to resign after a while. So after a while, this dude was beloved by white people all over the place, but he had to resign because Teddy got involved and got him fired because this girl, man, there was no repercussions for the white boys on the team, and so it was kind of crazy. But yeah, I got stories to tell you about Wesleyan and racism, but I made it
Oh
through.
Lord, have
I
mercy.
made it through.
So
Yeah.
so I think you answered the questions. I was going to ask how long did that coach last there?
Well, he was there for And by the time I got there, he was already there for 22 years.
Wow.
Right. And he lasted another maybe 10 years. So he was there for like 30 years before he got fired. And and he was racist, man. All white team, all white boys. And he didn't even like New Yorkers, right? Because
Oh, really?
I was a little bit too fancy for him, you know.
Yeah, too much
Uh,
swag.
but
Right.
but I played for Jack Curran, who at Malloy, who is a legend. And you know, I wanted to go to West End. He knew Jack Curran. Jack was saying John should not go to your school. He should be going to Georgetown, play with
Wow.
Patrick. But I went, and so the guy had to play me, you know. But it was tough. It
So
was
you would have.
really.
That was around the time when Georgetown was rolling.
Oh
Patrick
my
was
God, Big East,
running
the
the
Big East.
country.
So I would have been a junior when Patrick Ewing was a sophomore. I know when Patrick Ewing was a
Really?
freshman. Patrick Ewing came in. That's when Georgetown took it, and I would have been on that team. I probably would be sitting the bench, but I would have been on the team. Yeah,
Wow. Wow. Wow.
yeah,
All right.
and
So
crazy.
Ernesto, what's going on, bro? How you doing, man?
Nesto,
What's up?
Nesto, what's
It's so
up?
great to see you. So great to see you, man. So, how you been, bro? How you doing?
I'm well, but you know, you could have a whole show just dedicated to John. You really
I
could.
know. Listen, we got one of those coming up. We got some things in the works, man. I'm working with John
It
real
has to be a
closely.
multi-parter though. It has, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nah,
We could talk mental health. We could talk sports. We could talk fatherhood. We could talk,
Nonprofit.
yeah,
uh,
exactly.
all I
Exactly.
know is I got to make sure when I talk that if someone's listening that knew me, that I'm telling the truth, because I can fact check everything. Got to be fact checked, you know. But
Right, absolutely. No, listen. I never doubt. So this is what John does with me. Like he'll tell me stories, and listen, he knows so many people that it seems like this guy got to be capping, bro.
Nah,
But then he'll show me
nah.
pictures. He'll come back and show pictures. See, this is when I was with blah
We got
blah blah.
receipts.
Yeah,
We got receipts. Yeah.
he always has receipts, man. I love
yeah.
talking with John.
Well, my former boss passed away 3 days ago. I worked for Jesse Jackson for about a year. I was his
Wow.
advanced person all over the country. I had a pretty good relationship with him and his sons and his family. Yeah, so that was an interesting job, man. I tell you, man. My brother calls me Forrest Gump. He said, "You John, you know all these people, right?" But it's been a blessing, man, just to you guys know my struggles, but I've
Right,
also had some
right.
incredible experience. So I've been writing this book, Thurston, for the last 8 years, and it's pretty good. You can read my blog and you can see the different pieces. So we'll see what happens, man. I'll get it out sooner or later, you
No,
know.
listen, it has to be sooner. It has to be sooner,
Amen.
not later. You got to
Amen.
complete it. And so that's a great segue because I wanted to, this is something been on my mind for the last couple of weeks about accountability, right?
Yeah.
I believe it's extremely important to have accountability, especially for men to have accountability, because we can have a tendency to build our space or how we live, our environment with people that are always in agreement with us, that somebody that's going to pump up our ego or whatever, and not really have anybody that we are accountable to, unless you're married or in a good marriage, I should say, because you could be married and still not be accountable to your wife or your children. But accountability is important for all of us. And I just wanted to sort of throw it out there and talk to you guys about, how do you feel about accountability? Have you been able to implement it in your life in any way? And if so, how have you done it? Or what has been the challenges in implementing accountability in your life? And I'll open it up to the floor. Randy, what's up, baby? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, brother. How you
It's
doing?
good to see you, man. Good to see you, bro.
Good.
So yeah. So dive in, guys. What do y'all think about accountability? Have you been able to implement it in your life? And if so, how?
I'm gonna let. I'm gonna. I have a lot to say about accountability, but I'm gonna
Love it.
shut up. But I want to hear Ernesto.
I think
I'll
we
put you
all
right
want
up
to hear
spot,
from Ernesto.
Ernesto.
Absolutely.
I got a lot to say, so Gary, I'll save it.
You know, when I saw what the topic was, the first thing I thought of was Lamont O'Neal. Actually, your
Okay.
twin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because when I was when in one of the missions trip, and hopefully Reggie could come in and he'd be my receipt with
Right.
this. But I remember the boys. If you don't know, we went on these missions with these teenage boys from the ages. The youngest were 13, and then the oldest were 17. The mean age was
Okay.
16. One of the older kids was complaining to Lamont about one of the younger kids. And apparently the younger kid had told the older kid something about himself. And the older
Okay.
kid got offended, and he went to Lamont to complain. So I'm looking at Lamont, and you know Lamont, so Lamont's listening to the kid and he's tilting his head. And he's tilting his head, he's listening, and he's like, and the kid went off on a rant, and then all Lamont did was say, "But was it true?"
Ooh.
Mm.
Ooh.
And the kid was like, "No, Mr. O, da 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 da." And Lamont said again, "But was it true?"
Mm.
And then he said, be more concerned about whether or not it's true, and don't worry so much about who it's coming from or what it sounds like.
That's good.
And
Wow.
I
That's
was
good.
like, in my head, I was like,
That's good. That's good. I
now,
like that.
now, I don't know if he watches this, but the next time you see him, ask him. I promise you, he will not remember.
Really? So I'm
Oh,
texting
man.
him. Listen, it's funny when you mentioned his name. I'm texting him right now, sending him the link. I don't know if he'll be able to join or not. I don't know what his schedule's like, but
Yeah.
I would love to have him on
But
here.
he's not working tomorrow.
That's right. Exactly. all off tomorrow. Exactly.
He's not working tomorrow, so.
And listen, he can't necessarily be running around nowhere. Aren't they putting restrictions out in the city now? So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
But
Yeah.
but that's the first thing that came to mind, and I thought that I would
Wow.
just come in just to share that. And when I heard that that happened, this happened in 1999.
Wow.
And I've been wrestling with that ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Really?
great.
Oh yeah, because
Wow.
it's true. If you're concerned about growth and truth, but it hurts, and it could leave you
Yeah.
very uncomfortable. And the thing is that, do you want to, if you're committed to growth, then are you gonna take it? Because I promise you will be tested.
Yeah.
Good
Listen,
stuff. Yeah.
the thing about that, what you just said that stands out to me is I've always had this thing about trying to have people around me that I respect, right? So I could receive what they say. The thing that you shared is it don't really matter who it's coming from or even how it's delivered. The thought around is it true or not is important, right? And I love that perspective. I mean, I might still curse you out if I don't like you or like the way that you said it, but am I able to, if am I able to step back and really say and ask myself, well, is what they're saying really true, right? And then go about adjusting the way in which I deal with it, right? Darren, how you doing, bro? It's great to see you, man. Thanks for joining us tonight, bro.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you great, man. I can hear you great.
Okay.
Did you
Nice
see
to
what
see
we're
you
talking
again.
about
Nice.
tonight?
Yeah, taking accountability.
Yes, yeah. I'm gonna come to you in a moment.
Yeah.
I want to get Randy. And Randy, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. I'm doing.
Good.
I don't have to work tomorrow neither.
You don't have to work no tomorrows, bro. He retired, man. He's retired down in Florida, and y'all not getting no snow, right?
It's 84 degrees, brother.
Crazy. I'm gonna start blocking you from the show, bro. Until the summer, you can't come back until summertime, bro. For us up here in New York.
Man, this is not a show on hating. It's a show on accountability.
Right.
You know, it's gonna drop tomorrow to 54, but then it's gonna shoot back up. It's gonna shoot
put
back
on the
up
coat,
to
Randy. Oh my God.
About 74, so 70, 80. Yeah,
that's wild,
so we in winter.
That is crazy, man. That's wild.
Yeah.
All right, so Randy, I'm sure this is something that comes up or you think about accountability. I think we've talked about it before, but accountability, like, what's your thoughts on it? And have you been able over your life been able to implement it in your your environment?
Let me put it this way. I have to, because I'm married.
Okay. Right. I mentioned that earlier. Yes.
You know, because I'm married. So, and it's something that, you know, you have to really look at yourself. And a lot of times it's dealing with the hard truth. And so I've been really praying and asking God to help me to see myself. You know, because there's a way that you look at yourself, but then there's a way that God sees you. And so I want him to be able to really show me the truth of myself, and then it takes it. And like I heard, I think Pastor said it one time, it takes courage to want to change after you are faced with it, to face with that hard truth. So I had to learn to deal with it with a lot of stuff. Just in my own life, you know, you can easily hold somebody else accountable, but you very rarely do you want to hold yourself accountable. And so, you know, Rachel has, you know, helped me in that area by, you know, constantly repeating certain things and constantly repeating certain things and stuff like that. And so, you know, you get upset, you get mad and stuff like that. But at the same time, you have to take a look back and, like you say, is it true? Is it true?
Right.
You know, what she's saying, you know, because, you know, I'm ready to go back at her about her faults. And then she throwing back on me, and then you don't get nothing ever accomplished, because
it's just a back and forth.
Because once you learn is that God is only concerned about you. You know, he understands the other person, but it's about you. And so one thing that I learned, that you always hear people say, you know, that hurt people, right? And so you hear that question and that comes up. But then one thing, I was listening to something and the question came up, who hurt the other one first? You see, that's the thing that we don't realize and don't look at it. Who hurt the other one first? Because if it's true that hurt people, and if it's true that every action deserves a reaction, then you must take the time out and look and see who started it. Because now, if I started it, then this is what I'm getting back from them, you know. So I had to really take a look into a lot of that stuff, man, and understand that, you know, accountability is very important, especially when you want to take the accountability for somebody else. You know, when you want to take the accountability for somebody else, you know, when you stand at that altar, you take that father's daughter and you saying, I'm taking accountability for this. And then you raise your own daughters and your sons or your children, which you take accountability over. And so they have to see that you are a person that stands by what you say, your truth, what you believe in, what you walk in. And a
Right.
lot of times, man, it's becoming unselfish, because when you're by yourself, you can do whatever you want.
It's all about you.
But
Yeah,
yeah, but
absolutely.
when you take on that step to be, and it don't even have to be wife, like Vanessa was saying, like you're dealing with young people, young men, you stepping in that role of maybe being a father, whatever it might be, that you are showing that you're gonna be accountable over these kids to make sure they walk.
Yeah.
So you have to always be the point where you walking right and living right as they see you. So yeah, and it takes wisdom, because what he was saying about brother
Right.
Minister
Yeah.
Lamont, that was nothing but wisdom. You sitting there and you listening to this kid rant, but I'm not interested in this or that. I want to know, is it true what he's saying? And
Right.
so he never said that it was true. I didn't hear him say that it was true or
Right.
nothing.
Right.
But
Right.
but
Right. But he at least has to think
yeah,
about it.
yeah. But
Right.
you got to think, is what they saying about you is true. And so,
Right.
often, and I'm wrapping up with this. Often, one thing I also learned is that we go about our life and we do all kinds of things, but we have to always remember, and I tell people this, young people this, that you got to remember who you represent. It's not just you. The life that you
Uh-huh.
claim to live and want to live, you got to make sure that you dot in every I and crossing every T, because who you
Yeah.
representing. And so you got to live that way. And so that you can be, and God holds us to be accountable for what we do, what we say, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we go to him, he'll bring it back to our remembrance that this is what happened, and you
Mm-hmm.
asking for forgiveness, but you got to have the boldness to accept it when somebody come and tell you about you, and then take the bonus. And maybe
Yeah.
it's a lot of time we get mad, but the thing is, we also learn a principle that we learned, that attitude determines approach determines success or failure. And so
Uh-huh.
usually it's the way that it's presented to you. So you got to watch on
100.
what your tone is. And when you bring
Right.
somebody something, because that can make them reject it, even if it is true.
Even
They
if it is true.
Yeah,
Right.
they might accept it, but they don't accept your tone.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so
Oh,
this
yeah.
is there's a couple of things that you said I want to make sure we come back to, but I want to get Darren in. But you talked about um uh how your wife, reminds you of stuff. I want to talk about if she over years, if she learned about how to approach you. Because some people are stuck in their ways and they only know one way to either call people out or remind people of stuff, right? We talk about that. And also this idea of we want to be accountable, but that doesn't mean we have to be perfect. We may need to learn how to uh if necessary come back and apologize and stuff like that. That's a part of accountability. So accountability doesn't mean perfection. In my point of view, it just means understanding when a mistake is made, how to handle that, right? But we'll come back to those. Darren, I want to get you in here and ask you your thoughts on accountability. Have you been able to implement accountability in your life over the years, Darren? Duran?
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I can
Can
hear
you
you
hear
great.
me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it, I think it might be a lag or something going on.
There's a little lag, yeah. But you're good. You're good.
Oh, yeah. So what I wanted to, I think that accountability, it kind of goes both ways. You know, it's a lot of things that I'm still myself, that being about myself that I didn't like. Um, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, like, I kind of assume a lot from people. Like, I could assume the worst, assume something that's just completely wrong about somebody, and then I have to accountability for that part or on and say I apologize because I assumed the about you, and that person ended up being a good person, but my mind needs something different. So I think that when it comes to accountability, it could work both ways. You think that you can assume the worst for somebody, or you can assume the best for somebody. But I think it's really hard. And then sometimes when you have friendships, you're always so quick to blame the other person, in certain situations, and that's that causes demise. And no one really talks about that a lot. You always want to blame. We always want to blame the other person or the girlfriend or the ex or whatever. But we ultimately have a role to play into that too. But we don't want to take that accountability, right? So I think just recognizing that, and knowing that, I think when you become older and more mature, you say, you know what? Yeah, I definitely played a role in friendships, but I didn't want to say it then. But now I went to therapy or talk to other people in the situation. I can take more accountability for the things that I did, and so I can have healthy relationships. So that's just my thoughts.
And so this is very, very interesting. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective earlier, but as you talk about, as you grow and you realize, you said something early on in your comments about going back to the person and admitting, hey, I had you wrong. I assumed this thing about you. How important do you think that is? Like, that is a part of the 12 steps, right? Taking accountability, going back and either apologizing or whatever. But I know, I've done both. I've realized later in life that I may have done something wrong. And while I realize it, and I might try to change myself going forward, not necessarily going back to that person and apologizing or whatever. But then there are other instances where I did do that. Sometimes we don't have the opportunity because maybe the person's gone on or whatever, you lost contact or something like that. But how important do you think it is to go back and acknowledge you're wrong in those situations? That's for anybody. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, definitely. I got so many thoughts on accountability, but definitely, I'm going to generalize like a mug, but I think in terms of apologizing and acknowledging is critical and key. And I found in my relationships with women that I find myself apologizing, holding myself accountable, but it doesn't come back in the same way. Not that I'm looking for it to come back, but if they do something, I'm not going to name any names, but very rare do a lot of women show accountability. Like, yo, I really did do that. I'm sorry. And I think words are important. Sometimes you have to say it, right? But when I think of accountability, so many things I think of. I think of self accountability, right? If you with your friends and you throw a piece of paper on the floor, right? And some of your boys said, yo, man, pick that up, right? And you pick it up, right? But then when you're by yourself, if you throw the piece of paper on the floor and you don't pick it up, there's got to be some self accountability, regardless of who you're with and who you're. That's one thing. But also, I was fortunate enough to be involved with men's ministry, basketball teams, track teams, and stuff like that, where as either a leader, the captain or something, I had to hold people accountable, but I had to be accountable first. I had to be the first person there. I had to be the one that I never wanted someone to say, well, John didn't do it or something like that. So that my self accountability, but also being accountable to the other teammates, and also the teammates being accountable to the team. Lastly, so I belong to this organization called the ALP, Archbishop Leadership Project, right? When I was a sophomore well, junior and senior in high school, and it was for quote unquote outstanding black boys in the tri-state area. Right, they interview like 100 people, 100 kids, and they only select like 15. So I was part of that. Right, and that's kind of my fraternity. It's called the ALP. And a lot of people who I talk about belong to that organization as we, grow, as we got older, and they've been pretty successful, right? But we did something in terms of holding each other accountable. So I did this up until I was a late age, and that was I had three friends. I got three really close friends, right? And every year we would get together, go, and we all lived in different cities. We would get together in one of the cities, and we would have, and we would kind of um, do we used to call it accountability, we used to call it peer group or whatever. But what we did was we would talk about things that happened to us during the year, blah blah blah. But then we would all write down goals that we would have for the upcoming year, right? And although we talked to each other throughout the year, we got together the following year, a year later in some city, and we would sit and talk about those goals that we made, and we held each other accountable for each other and what we said and what we did. And I held and still do it to some extent, but I've always had that feeling of, I sometimes, and Thurston, as we even talk about it, I need accountability. I need people to hold me accountable. You just said it. Yo, John, you got to write that book, right? You got to finish that book. So I need that accountability, because it's easy to just drift off and say things, but not do things, right? And that's one of the things that I tried. So holding each other accountable, and the whole iron sharpens iron, and not take things personal. If I do something wrong, and my friends tell me, "Yo, John, I don't like what you said," and we hold each other accountable for things that we say and things that we do. So I think accountability is so key, and trusting the people that you hold yourself accountable to.
Yeah, that's definitely a big deal. And listen, I definitely don't want to. I don't want to be the one speaking through all of this. I love everything I'm hearing. I definitely have a lot of opinions on all of that. The idea that you talked about earlier, Randy, about, okay, for those of us that are married or have been married or whatever, I'll ask you specifically, Randy, because I know you, I know Rachel. Did Rachel have to learn how to hold you accountable in a way that you would respond appropriately, or did it take time for her to learn, okay, this is how I have to approach Randy if I really want him to respond to my concerns?
Well,
what do you think?
I think that a lot of it came, over time, so of course, you marry, you get into arguments, and you're going to go back and forth at each other. And so she would go off. And so, as a man, you ain't going to win. So, they just know how to get under your skin. And so she's saying things, but but again, she's saying the right stuff, but I'm being offensive, because everything that she's saying, I gotta put my guard up, you're
taking it personally, right? You gotta defend yourself.
I gotta protect myself. And so she was saying, listen, I'm not trying to help you, I'm not trying to hurt you. I just want you to understand and learn these things. And so not so much learn them, but she's saying things like this. So so I had to learn through the years of little things that like, coming out of that selfish mode, right? So like, for instance, I was just thinking about it today. I'll make breakfast. And so I'll make myself a cheese omelet, fries. And so then I'm making me one, right? So I don't go and ask, oh, do you want one?
What do you want?
I'm
Right.
making me one. So she'll come out and she'll go, oh, you making me one? I'm like, oh, this is for you. And so I turn it over and I give it to her. This is for you.
Right.
And then I make me another one. But many a time she would tell me, like, Randy, how long we been married? And you don't know this. I'll make me something, drink, hot coffee or whatever. She said, you put enough water in there for me? And I'm like, gotta go fill it up.
Yep.
But
it takes us a while to catch on, bro.
So and that's the process of learning, and stuff. So now I'm at a place now that we are at a place now where I become more sensitive to how I move and what I say. I try to learn the signs and all this kind of stuff. But I'll be honest, man, it took time. It was not overnight, because in the process when you're married or whatever, you're in a relationship, it's about learning one another and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And I'll be honest, man, when I hear people talk all the time, and it just seem like the married couples, man, and they like all lovey-dovey all the time. I'm like, man, get out of here. I'm saying, man, come on, man. I mean, I've been married 43 years, so I'm like, and they like, it's like every time they look into these eyes and the sun just come out. I'm like, man, come on, man. Because the truth is that, it's like sometimes you just want to be by yourself.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes you just want to be by yourself, and sometimes they going through their changes or whatever the season that they in, and they're like, get off of me, and so you got to learn the seasons that they in.
Right.
And I'm just being honest. So it took me a while to learn all this stuff, but her learning to speak to me and share with me certain things. And I had to, learn to swallow my pride and then hear that, again, she was not trying to hurt me or put me down or embarrass me. But for me to have this, and I had to do a lot of praying and asking God to change my heart on things and things like that. So she was able to help guide me. I give the credit to God, and I give the credit to my wife for helping me to become the person that I am, and stuff like that. So I mean, I have no shame about it. That's just the way it is, man. I don't feel no shame.
I got a question. Did you ever have to hold your wife, or did your wife ever want to be held accountable for something?
Well, that's a good question. Because I know how she is, and so again, you can start playing the point blame. So I would try to tell her, well, you like this, and like stuff like that, and then it's like some things I'm like saying, you know what? Because I know how she is. I had to tell her, look, you have a habit of looking at the mold in someone else's eye, but you don't see it in your own eye.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? I said that. So you quick to point that out. But when it comes to you comes up, just tell me when. Somebody tell me how, and all this kind of stuff. And so now I got to come back up with dates, to try to prove my point.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yes.
So I got to try to come up with points. And I'm not like, how we are. We hear something and then we just go on. But they're gonna recall and all this kind of stuff. So I had to say, listen, then you have, and that's across the board with everything. Other people and stuff like that. See, I'm more like I want to find a balance. So and she said she figures that, listen, well, you don't support me and this. I said it's not that I don't support you. It's just like I'm just trying to figure out how this is. Why it's like that. So if it's a person say to me, oh, she didn't speak to me, right? So my question is, Did you speak to her?
Did you speak to her?
Right.
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 You know,
Right.
I'm like, so this is how I act. Because I'm always going to
Right.
try to find the balance. I just don't lean to one side. I'm trying to hear
Right.
both sides and try to see how it is. But they might feel that I'm not being supportive. And it's not that I'm not being supportive. I'm just trying to let you see that there's another side to this. And so when I say my piece, she might get upset, be mad. Then all I could do is leave it in God's hand. God, you got this. I mean, I can only work on me. So
So,
you
Amen.
have to show
Randy,
her.
Amen.
what I'm hearing is that, you know, when she's giving you accountability, she makes sure that she tells you, I'm not attacking you. But when you give her accountability, you attacking her.
Mm-hmm. That's how it sounds like. Yep.
I want to jump in, Rand, when you was talking. If I was being held accountable for things that I did or said, and even if and it might get into a heated, not sometimes I got a little defensive with thing. I get defensive, but then I say, you know what? Yeah, I see that, and I really apologize. I'm gonna try not to do that again. But in the heat of the moment, I say, well, since we're talking about holding each other accountable, let me just say some things that you do, right? Right? You see the speck in mine, I don't see a plank in yours, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I would say, you know, well, I hear you. Can I just tell you how you do the same thing? And the first thing I would hear out of some of my wife and other people, right, is that we're not talking about me. You know, we're not talking about me. And not only that, but they would feel that, you know, why do you have to flip it, right? One of those things, or you know, or we're invalidating what they were saying. You know, I was validating since but my thing is that I don't want to deal with this later on. Let's just get it all out now, so we won't have to talk about. Because I don't want, you know, I don't want to come back in a week and say, okay, now is it my turn? Can I? Because now we're going back into it, and so a lot of times I just my part would never come. My part in saying what was happening with her or trying to hold her accountable for things, that just never happened because a week later, I'm not going there anymore. I'm like, whatever. I said, you said your piece. I got it,
But
and I'll
Yep.
take it. And then I never get a chance to say my piece.
but you know
Oh,
what?
John, that's important what you just said. Very important, because now we do a lot of work around this, and I had to learn it myself. The reason it feels that way many times is that we will tend to let things go. We feel like, oh, it's not a big deal, or I don't need to say anything, or whatever. And then when we're held accountable, all those things that we may have thought weeks and months before start to come back. Well, you did this and you did that. And now it seems like tit for tat.
Mhm.
It's like, you're not really listening to me. You're just trying to blame me because I brought something to you. And so doing work around speaking up for not for ourselves, but saying what we need to say when it needs to be said, not out of an argument, not out of defense, but just listen, I didn't like the way you did so and so last week, right?
That's tough though.
Now there are
Isn't that
many
tough,
reasons why we won't do that.
Because a week later, I'm saying, you know what? I don't want to get back into that space again. Because it was, and
And I
so,
may want to hit tonight, and I don't want to start an argument.
but
So I'm not bringing nothing negative
but it
up.
never is
Right.
that. Thursday, it never became that time when everything's calm. We're watching a movie, whatever.
But you have to make the time, though.
Huh?
You have to make
Yeah,
the time.
okay,
You have to make it the
all right.
time.
Let's turn off the movie and let's talk about something that we talked about last week. Oh man, why we got? It would be like, can we now deal with it? First of all, most of the time I forgot about what happened. I forgot about it, and I said, and then it'll come up when she's going at me again, right? So I could understand what you're saying about tit for tat thing, but I really, cause after it's done. If we don't deal with it in that moment, and then when we deal with it, it's still, why are you bringing that up for? Why we have to talk? It was just, hey, I don't know, but you're right.
I get it.
It's, you got to find that
it.
time where she could receive it, or he, some of my
Right.
boys too, or he can receive it, you know?
Right. And just like we ask them to think about the way and their tone and stuff like that, we have to be mindful of that as well.
Absolutely.
Right. But we also don't want to just shrink and internalize everything and not talk about anything. Like, okay, whatever, you're right. I'll work on it. Because we're still holding on to things inside that we know bothers us or we didn't like about their approach or what they did or whatever. And we never said anything.
Right.
So we have to make that room to speak up for ourselves so we don't feel like it's only, because it can start to feel like everything is on me. Like it's like I can't do anything right. I can't.
Or it'll come out.
Or
it'll come out like and everything comes out at one time, and it's like
and then you're gonna raw right back. Right, Vaughn, what's up, my dude? How you doing, baby?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good to see you, man.
Vaughn, Vaughn, I love you, Vaughn. I love you.
I love you too, John.
We all love Vaughn, bro. We all love Vaughn.
Hey, man, how you doing?
I am so sorry for getting in late. I have been dealing with quite a bit of extended family issues as of late, including one that just popped up over the past couple of hours. But
oh wow!
And so I don't know where you guys are. I don't know what you covered. I haven't heard anything.
We're just talking about accountability overall.
So I just wanted to jump in. I know it may be nearing the end, but I wanted you to see my face, and I miss this. I miss you guys. Randy, I haven't seen you forever, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, man. Good to see you,
even though you're
bro.
in the shadow right now.
Sorry.
right. Shadow, but he's also in 84 degrees.
You know, I don't even want actually cut him off. Cut him off right now.
That's what I said. He can't come back until it's summer for us, bro. For real. He said it's gonna be cold tomorrow. It's gonna be 54 degrees for him. Right. So this is their winter.
You know what I'm thinking about, Thurston? We can't hold people accountable for things that they don't know that they're doing, right? So if you don't share and say, hey, and they might agree and say, yeah, I didn't realize I was doing it. And if they do it again and again and again, then you're holding them accountable. But are they receiving it? They're saying, you know what? I really do want to change that behavior. Thank you for holding me accountable for that.
Right. That's a very rare occurrence for anybody, I think, right? Because it's not easy to do that. So for me, I know there are certain things that have been triggers for me because of the way I was raised, my environment, my upbringing. And I think it's important for all of us, for all men, to think about what things are triggers for us, right? It could be the tone. It could be the time that something's brought up. So for me, like we're very transparent on here. So I talk about all the time how I was raised by a house full of women, and basically they loved everything that I did, right? And I felt like, okay, I'm good. I'm thirsting and I'm good at the things I do, and they would always hype me up and love on me. And then when I got married, now all of a sudden this woman is telling me I'm not perfect. Like, I know that's wrong. Right. And that didn't sit well with me, bro. I had not dealt with that growing up. Right. And so I had to, and it took me time to realize that, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I could have done that differently. I could be more attentive in that way, or I could pay more attention to these things. But it took me a long time. Now, Randy, how many years you said you're at married now? 40?
43.
45? 43.
43.
So Erica and I, this is our 30th year married. So in September 21st, it'll be 30 years we've been married. It took me a long time to learn that, bro. I had to really do some soul searching and be intentional about trying to change, because this is the reality. Who wants to be told that they're wrong? Nobody wants to be told that they're wrong, right? And that's why it's very rare that you hear a comment like you were just saying, John, like, you know, I need to be held accountable. And somebody said earlier that you don't necessarily hear that from women. Now, you know, that's a narrative that goes around about women and accountability, right? And right. That's a narrative that goes around, and to some degree, they may be right. I think a lot is based on people's personal experiences. I wouldn't paint it with a broad brush, because I believe if you approach a woman in the right way, just like if you approach a man in the right way, you can get to that point of accountability with both of us. But I think a lot has to do with the approach. Right? And what do you guys think?
Last thing I want to say about this whole thing about accountability is, can you no, you know, go ahead. Just so I kind of lost my train of thought, but go ahead. Yeah, something that you said, Thurston, that, you know, no one wants to be told that they're wrong, right? I want to be told that I'm wrong if I am wrong, right? If I'm wrong, don't tell me I'm right if I'm wrong, right? I heard someone say one time in marriage that men just want to appear that they're doing well, but they don't actually want to do well. Someone said that, and I was like, no, I wanna be good. I want to be doing good or do well. And if I'm not, tell me, we can talk about so I can get better. But I want to know if I'm doing wrong. If you feel that I'm doing wrong, let's talk about it. And I might say, oh no, that's your problem. But I want to hear. I want to get better.
Okay. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about being told that you're wrong? Does it all hinge on how you're told? Like, will that drastically impact the way that you respond, the way that you're being told you're wrong?
Of course, because if you know, the person could be 100% right, but if they come at you in the wrong manner, you're going to be defensive. And you know, even though they're 100% right, you'll be defensive. You'll put up your own wall and you're ready to fight. You know, but if somebody comes into the correct way, explains to you, or let's be frank, John and I had an issue recently. You know, we were in a chat with some other people, and there was something that I said jokingly, and John picked up the phone and called me. He picked up the phone and called me. So we have a relationship and a brotherhood that pretty much almost any way that John would have spoken to me, you know, I would accept it, you know. But the fact that he came right at me was like, Vaughn, that bothered me. That bothered me, and I had no idea that it did. But the fact that it bothered him and that it offended him, that got to me, and I was like, let me immediately correct this situation, you know, because my relationship with him was more important than even me feeling that I could be right. You know, I didn't even think that it could be
my introduction, I love you, Vaughn, because Vaughn wrote me back. He said, I love you, John, right? And it was one of those things where, you know, Vaughn didn't really, and if I did not point it out, he might have done it again, and I would have been like, yo, Vaughn. But I told him, we talked about it, and he defended for a second, but then he said, no, I said, if you feel offended, John, I didn't mean anything by it. And then it squashed. Vaughn's my brother. I'll punch him in the mouth if he says some shit like that again. But no, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But no. But and that was cool, you know.
But see, that's why
I love it. I love that.
That's why I said, and I love that principle that, you know, attitude determines approach determines success or failure. So sometimes, and I try to share that with a lot of people, man, that it's the way that you approach a person will determine how they will accept it. You know, that's the key. And sometimes you have to learn to just say, well, you know what, I'm not going to say nothing right now, because I'm, you know, you steaming. So sometimes and so sometimes you have to use wisdom to say, well, you know, I'm not going to say anything right now. I'm gonna come back around later after I don't cool off. And so before I can go back and I can, say anything, but but you're gonna revisit it. But but if I revisit it right now, and then it might not go off as well, and
Absolutely.
then it's gonna go. So sometimes you gotta like say like, okay, man, you think about it, because now you say, like you said, Vaughn, right? You know your brothers. So sometimes you got to think about it. Say, you know what, man, that's just Vaughn. I'm not going to even sweat it, because I know he didn't mean anything by it. You know what I'm saying? When you allow the waters to simmer down and got cool, then like I got to think on that. I mean, he said that's my brother, and if there's anything else like that, then then I will have to check him. But sometimes it's just important just to maybe deal with things. One thing, like I said, when you were asking about like with my wife, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I can go back, but I have learned over the years, and I'm just saying, you know what, Randy, you got to learn, and this is what God was teaching me, that you got to learn to deal with them according to knowledge. You have to learn, when to approach and when not to approach.
Yeah.
Because if you approach the wrong way, I mean, you're gonna get hit with both barrels. And so sometimes you gotta say, you know what, I'm gonna let this cool down, because and then to try to do this and say something, and then next thing you know, nobody's talking. And believe me, all that stuff about don't let the sun go down on your wrath, and don't go to bed mad. Please, that don't work.
Thus I got a divorce. No, but no,
I'm
you're
telling you what
absolutely
it
right.
is.
Absolutely.
It's the truth. You go to
Absolutely.
bed mad. I mean, you
Yeah.
go upset. I mean,
Absolutely.
and that's just life, and because only way that you can really, because she done shut down, you done shut down, nobody's talking, nobody's mad.
Right.
I mean, and I'm like, you know what? The one thing I'm not gonna do, I'm not sleeping on the couch.
We're just gonna be
Well,
mad together in the same bed.
that's where
That ain't happening. That's gonna be my choice. But it's no, that
but
that
that's
don't
what
work.
communication is, right? Kind of trying to check that, see how they receive things, right? If I when I'm passionate about something, I raise my voice, then I know people can shut down and say, oh, and they think I'm not angry, but I know that some people I got to talk a little softer with, because they're not going to receive it that way, or this is not the right time because I'm real heated. I'm going to say something crazy, so let me just shut up. And you're absolutely, I mean, timing is everything, and knowing the person is a lot too. I think Vaughn received it because we're friends, and I didn't come at him like, yo, you do that shit again, I'm gonna punch you. But that wasn't what I do. That wasn't the way, because I love Vaughn, right? So it was just a matter of, because I could have came at you real wrong, Vaughn, right? I don't think I did I, Vaughn?
Not at all. I mean, you were straightforward, but like, Vaughn, that bothered me, and you told me that, and I was like, really? I was like, and then I was like, my heart was broken. I was like, I hurt my friend. I offended him, so I just wanted to make sure I got it right.
But that's what communication is all about in friendship. You know what I mean?
That's what communication is about. And learning how to communicate. Something important. Now, Ernesto, I'm gonna come right to you. Something important you said, John, is like, yourself. When you get excited, you raise your voice, and people receive that a certain way. But now, some people will take the stance of, that's just the way that I am. You got to accept me for who I am. Instead of learning who you can be that way with and who you can't be that way with, right? That's important, right? Not just selling, well, that's just the way God made me. No, that's a lie. No, you have to learn how to adjust. Ernesto, I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize at all. That's very true. I was gonna say that, the whole process of what everyone was talking about, there's a whole internal process that goes to that whole accountability and receiving accountability. There's that part where it's just like like how Vaughn said, was like, I didn't intend to, you know, and then he had to go through a whole process. Like, okay, he had to prioritize my intentions versus my relationship.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Good,
and that's that is a process. Oftentimes you have to crucify yourself. You have to crucify that flesh, and that is not easy. You know, and it's easy to get defensive, and a lot of it sometimes has to do with how much emotional stuff do you have in your in your reservoir. You know, like sometimes if you're really tired or you sick and tired, it's really hard to accept accountability. Hence why we always have to go with you know, when people were talking about their spouses, they have, what I heard was, it's not not only how you say it, right? What you say, also what time of the day you say it, and you have to have that right algorithm, or else it all goes out. You know, but that's but the word was, you know, communication. And how do you communicate? And also, accountability does take some emotional maturity. It takes a lot of
100%.
emotional maturity. And at the end of the day, it's like, do you want to grow? And sometimes you know, and growth hurts. You know, and also I have to put this in there too. How you see yourself is incredibly important, because you know, an individual will always get defensive if they feel like they're always being attacked.
Right.
And the thing is that, like, you know, Vaughn can receive it from John because that's his boy, and there's a lot of love there, right? But what if a person that you don't like also holds you accountable? Right? Now that's when it's tough. And sometimes you may not like your spouse, you know, all the time. You know what I'm saying? You know, just being real, you know?
Right.
You know, but then after that, you know, but it's that accountability. And I think that's where that internal process comes in.
That's good, man. I know that, Thurston, I want to take issue just a little bit of what you said. I think that we're talking about people that we know and we love and we know, but there's a lot of times when you don't know how someone is going to react. And so you have to be true to yourself, however that is, and let the chips fall where they may. Because I mean, if you know your wife, so you know your boy, you know, you could, but other times I have to say, I'm not going to always think about how that person is going to receive it, because I don't know. They might not receive my quietness. They might not. I don't know. So I have to be true and say, this is how I'm feeling. This is what's going on. And if they say to me, yo, John, I hopefully they would have enough to say, yo, John, I didn't like what you said. Or then I would say, oh, okay, well, then I could adjust, you know, if I don't know how someone's going to react.
Right. Right.
No, yeah, like the story I shared with earlier. I don't know if that kid received what Lamont said. I don't. You know, I know I got a really important thing to it,
right?
And I know it ministered to me because, you know, because maybe, you know, and many times I had to repeat that so many times in my own personal walk.
Wow. Right. Wow. But is it true? And so even as you were talking about that, and it came to mind later, if Lamont, I know that's a principle that he has, but if Lamont responded in that way, knowing Lamont and knowing that he knows the young people he works with, he was probably getting him to look at himself and like,
there was no probably, Thurston.
Yeah.
There was no problem.
Right.
Absolutely.
That was exactly what he was doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the kid said something that all of us knew about it.
Right.
And you know, everybody was like, oh, look, out of the mouth of babes, you know. It's like the youngest kid, you know, pulled him out and told him about himself, you know. So and you saw that kid wrestle, man. Like he wrestled. Like I don't remember whether or not he received it, but I do remember that kid wrestled with that. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's important. Very important.
I know that one time I had a brother, you know, I try to hold myself to a certain standard, right? When I deal with people, anybody. I try to be thirsty, no, I try to be neutral, I try to treat everybody the same. Even though I know that everybody is different, but I understand that everybody's at different levels in their life spiritually or whatever it might be. So I had a brother that came to me and I was calling. I'm like, yo, man, come here. He said, nah, I'm not coming like that. So I went over to him. He said, man, you always do that. You always calling people over. And I'm like, what? and so then he said, yeah, you could ask so-and-so. So I went and I asked her. It was another young lady. And I went and asked her. She said, yeah, you do it. But, I don't pay no attention. And believe me, I got upset with both of them. I was hurt because you telling me that I offend you but you didn't tell me.
Right.
You telling me? I mean, how could I was so crushed, and these two people that I regard as friends, and one of them I look at as a mentor, and I'm like, you see me doing this, but you didn't tell me, and I was so broken by it because I hold myself that I don't want to hurt anybody, and I'm always trying to walk. So I want you, if I'm doing something wrong, tell me, so that I can correct it. And so once I did it, they like, oh man, don't worry about it. We love you, we forgive you. But I accept the forgiveness and all that kind of stuff, but I was still hurt by it because you didn't let me know that I was offending you. And so I hold
a lot of people have
I hold that regard. Go ahead.
A lot of people have difficulty telling people that they offend them, right? I don't have that problem because if you don't know, you don't know, right? So I can't hold you.
Really does not have that problem.
Right?
He does not.
Everybody that know you know that, John.
Right? Come on, I'm just honest. But if you do it again, then I'm saying you're doing it purposely now, because you know. But a lot of people have challenges just for whatever, because maybe they don't like to receive direct comments, so they don't. So since they don't like to be told direct stuff, they don't want to be direct. I don't know, but you're right.
A lot of it, John, may have to do with not wanting conflict or avoiding conflict.
That too.
Yeah.
Yep. Avoiding conflict, absolutely. Listen, there should be classes on how to address these things. I think especially for men, because I think we tend to hold back. Now there's certain people, like I think Randy's the same way. Randy does not have a problem telling people what he needs to tell them, right? John doesn't have a problem. I think most of us will do it, but again, there's certain levels that we'll go to. Like we may take certain things for a long time and then finally speak up. You never want it to spill out in anger or a full-blown argument or whatever. That's why talking about it when it happens is important, especially in the context of relationship, right? Your holding back has a way of really building up, and it can harm the relationship long term. But that's something that I think we have to learn it. It's good to learn from peers or mentors about how to really speak up for ourselves and advocate for ourselves, and almost regardless of how someone responds or even may receive it. Now we put thought into the way that we express ourselves so that it's not harsh and so that they can receive it. But sometimes you can say it in the nicest way you possibly can, and they will still be offended by it.
Yep.
And at that point, what do? Do you just not say anything? I don't think that's the wise way.
You know what? I just want to say, no, it's important to be able to receive it as well, right? If you're a person that could take, if someone says, yo, John, I didn't like what you said, blah, 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 and I can receive that, then it's got to be kind of a balance that goes both ways. So if I could tell someone that I don't like what you said, well, I better be able to take it when someone says, yo, John, I don't like what you said. And that's all what communication, friendship, how people, how people, how they talk, all that stuff. And it's got to go both ways,
Yeah, I love it. I love it, guys. No, this is wonderful. What are we at 7? We almost at an hour and a half, 7:30. So this is great. I love this. I think this is going to be helpful to a lot of people as they look at the clips and rewatch the show later. I will say, again, trying to be more consistent in our coming on and making sure that we stay on topic. So I have to take accountability for that, for jumping on and making sure we're consistent with the consistency. I fully understand consistency is a major part of growing anything. And I really do believe, like when we first started this during the pandemic, everybody was stuck at home. So, people was looking forward to seeing us. They would jump on, ask questions and all of that. Now that the world's back to, it's a new normal, but back to normal, I just have to be more consistent in showing up and making sure you guys know that we're coming on so we can have more of these great conversations and share with the other brothers that's out there. I appreciate you guys. So we have a few minutes. Let's do some last comments before we go. Who wants to go first? Who wants to give their final comments on accountability before we close the show tonight?
I'll just say that accountability is key in relationships, period. Being able to hold someone accountable, right? And let them know if they don't know or whatever. And then me holding myself accountable, whether the person says it or not, and then being able to receive, John, you're not being accountable, right? So it's key in communication and friendship and marriage. I wasn't that good in my marriage. I think I'm better now. For the next one, the next scallywag that I get married, maybe I'll be better.
But you got to stop that first.
There's the problem right there.
That's the problem.
We've identified the problem right there.
As you're awfully,
you gotta take the. that's
y'all are stupid, bro.
It's that. Hey, John, it's that tongue. You gotta take accountability for that tongue.
Well, I'm gonna jump in because I gotta defend his ex-wife, who is who I love like my sister as well.
So, right.
Listen, she had a lot to do to deal with my butt and who I am and what I've done. I've been very apologetic, and listen. She had to deal with a lot of SHI caca with me, right? So I'm not thinking that her like she was a bad person. She's not. We're very good friends, and we get along, and we're fine. But we both know that there were things in our marriage that were very challenging that we didn't deal with, as well as, people say, oh, John, you and Gamal are going to get back together. You're going to get back together. And I think we both realize that our DNA hasn't changed. We get along fine from a distance, but, we just got to understand that we're cool, a friend and friendly, but getting back together would be very difficult, I think.
I will co-sign that they're a great example of a divorced couple and the way they managed to first of all to put their daughter first, to make sure that she's in a situation where she can succeed, and just their relationship with each other it's very commendable. I love them both. So
thanks.
I jumped in late, so I didn't hear everything that was going on. So I don't know what was covered. So I just want to say about accountability. my great person that I always looked to be accountable to my entire life was my father, who was always there until he went on to glory a few years ago. But God has blessed me with a wife that I can definitely listen to and hear when and she'll make sure that I hear her and I can receive it, because I had a great example of with my dad and him being able to listen to what my mother had to say. But also God has blessed me with some brothers, some friends that I can look on the screen right now and I see people right now that if you guys called me to the carpet, I can hear it and I can receive it. So, so I'm grateful for accountability partners.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who's next?
I just think that it is important in our everyday life, the way that we walk, how we handle ourselves, how we deal with issues, deal with people. We must, our children, our family, be able to admit when we wrong, and learn to be quick in saying that that I'm sorry, and whatever the case might be. And I find that sometimes that's a struggle within ourselves, to come out and want to be like, to just to say that I'm sorry, or I messed up, or I missed the mark on something. So learning that, and God constantly, like I said from the beginning, that I've just constantly to pray and ask God and put myself on the altar, and that to continue to work on me and help me in this area in my life, because like I said, he sees us in a way that we don't see ourselves, and he sees the innermost parts of our hearts, things that's been buried for years, and he helped us to deal with these things that causes us to be where we are. So all those things that I truly thank him for helping me in this growth in my life, in my marriage, helping me to be more sensitive to what's going on, what's happening, and so and the thing about it, you might not never get the announcement that from your spouse, like, oh, yo, man, you really doing. You might have never, but they can see it, and you can see it, because where you used to get upset at stuff, you don't really get upset at stuff. You learn to deal with things differently. So I give God credit and growth in that, and it's all about maturity. Accountability is about maturity, and it does, like Lester said, it hurts, when you have to deal with certain things, but it's for the better of making you the perfect, not perfect, but the best man that you can be. When you learn to be able to take responsibility for everything. I messed up. I messed that. I screwed that up really bad, stuff like that. And I try to just sweep it up under the carpet, But admitting that, listen, I missed that, man. I'm sorry about that. So it's one of those things, man. I try to, just try to just continue to let God just can do work in me, man. That's the only thing that I can really see, and I can really thank him for what he's doing.
Love it, Randy. Thank you, bro. Thank you, Ernesto.
Yeah, I
final
wanted
words
to go
for you,
before
bro.
Randy, because I think as a rule we should always make Randy go last.
Absolutely.
Like, come on, man. Anyway, I would say that first of all, accountability. I love what Randy said, because and Vaughn, and I don't know about what John said, but I love you.
He's gonna call you after the show.
No, yeah, he's gonna punch me in my face.
I keep it real all the time. All right.
You know what? I'm gonna. Yeah, I owe you. I owe you a visit, brother. I really do. I gotta go to Far Rock, but I have to thank God for, because I'm in just transparency. I am about to join John's club, you know. And the thing is that it took me a while to really hold myself accountable without condemnation. And it took me a very long time, 2 years actually, because I was counting.
Wow.
To really get to the point where I could hold myself accountable without beating myself up. And I would say that, and I'll end with this: the evidence of accountability, real accountability, is change.
That's good, man.
The evidence of real accountability is change.
I'm gonna use that. I'll give you a footnote when I use that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we're preparing to speak with several groups coming up. So for those that don't know, John is working with me in my nonprofit right now, bringing his expertise, his speaking ability, his knowledge on mental health and wellness and mentoring. And as we all know, he jokes about this, but he really is like a Forrest Gump. Like, he knows so many people. His life has taken him so many places, bro. It's amazing. So we're speaking to some young men this week, long as the weather allows for us to be there, and just sharing our knowledge and stuff with them, helping them grow and so forth. And I say that to say, I'm sure that quote is going to come up during our talks about accountability. We're definitely going to steal your quote, Ernesto. So we'll give you some credit, though. We'll give you credit. And so listen, we all know, we talk about this all the time. Like you said, Vaughn, I love having brothers that I am accountable to. It is so easy for men to isolate and build our own little world where we are king and whatever we say goes, and that is just it. But, you know, being accountable to wives, to daughters, that's important to me. I've created a space even with my daughters where they can call me on the carpet if they need to. Of course, they do it respectfully or whatever, and they love me. So they have the freedom to do that if necessary, right? And then having brothers like you guys, right? That's important. I take pride in the fact that I haven't had to have a lot of calls with you guys saying, "Hey, Thurston, get yourself together." But I do know that with the relationship that we have, that you would call me and say, "Hey, get your act together," if need be, right? So I love that. And I think more men should have that. More men should have accountability partners that really love them and that can really call them on the carpet. So we'll talk about this some more. I definitely believe we need to circle back to that conversation on how to manage divorce and stuff. Like I talk about me and Erica coming up on 30 years, but I was married prior to my marriage to Erica, and got a divorce. So went through years of depression around that, and like, it was really, really bad for me. So I definitely think it's something we should come back around and talk about, and how we manage it and how we are managing it, and how to move forward, you know, in a positive way. So listen, that's it for us tonight, man. Brothers talking about it.
Can y'all see what's happening out there? Can you know?
Yeah, bro. I have a big window behind me.
You see that?
And I can see it coming down. It's crazy.
It's
I'm
crazy.
going to ship a box to Randy.
Yes, we should. We absolutely should.
I figure I'll
send you some winter.
I'll get up in the morning, man, and shovel some sunshine. I'm gonna try to.
You saw that last picture that you sent to us, bro. Crazy. All right,
so
guys, listen.
Quick,
I love
Thurston.
every one of you. Yeah, go ahead.
So let me just say, I'll be up around about, I think, the end of April.
Okay.
I would love if we can get together and maybe go out to eat somewhere, and chop it up and stuff like that, so that we all can come together for once, you know. And,
the end of April, you said, right?
Yeah, I'll let you know. Because we normally fly up around April time for all our doctor's appointments and stuff like that. Because we still have our doctors and things like that in New York. So if it's good, then I'll let you know. We can maybe talk about it. I'll let you know when, and we can set a date up for those that's available to come out, find a restaurant. I leave it up to your
I
guys.
just need to know the dates because I have a Penn State trip in April.
Okay. I think it's going to be like the last week going into May. So I'll be there for maybe like 2 to 3 weeks. But I know I'm coming up into April, so I'll be there, maybe like for 2 to 3 weeks, so we can set up a date.
I'm down.
And then we can all maybe meet and just hang out and eat.
The first time I met you, Rand, nice meeting you, bro. I definitely
yeah.
They got some wisdom, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I got you.
Ain't no other crew spreading power like us. Brothers like us. Brothers.
Guys, I love you guys. We will meet in 2 weeks. All right.
Okay, bro.
In 2 weeks, we'll be back on. We'll talk about whatever we're going to talk about. I love you guys. Thanks for jumping on. And for everybody out there, this is Brothers Like Us, man. Real conversations about real life. All right. We love you guys. Have a good one.
Okay.
Ain't no other crew spreading power like us. Brothers like us. Brothers like us. Ain't no other squad lifting spirits like us. Brothers like us. Brothers like us. Ain't no team bringing brotherhood like us. Brothers like us. Brothers like us. Ain't no man moving in purpose like us. Brothers like us. Brothers like us.